Hello everyone, it's your host with the most, jlgkjokjk, and today, for a little special treat, I want to show you guys how to build a computer. This PC that you're looking at right here, yes, PC, not Mac, is my own computer. I built it myself. I'm going to zoom the camera in a little bit so you can see the guts of the computer. You can see the genius behind it. You can see that's the fan, heatsink. That's a fan. The motherboard, some PCI cards, video card, and such. Now, check it out. Let's start here. First off, why would you want to build a computer? Well, I'll tell you why. It's cost efficient. It saves you a lot more money than spending it on a Dell, and you know which parts you're putting into the computer. You don't know what parts you're getting with the Dell. Let me tell you, when you buy a Dell, you buy shitty parts with it. They outsource a lot of their parts to Singapore and these third world countries that do not care about their parts. They do not put a lot of work and money and effort into them, and they crap out on you in 2 or 3 years. So that's why I suggest you buy your own parts from newegg.com. Proudly endorse and support that company full-heartedly. Now, I run this setup in RAID, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But let's talk about this. First thing you're going to need when you build a computer is a case. You need the external shell. This thing, you know, that's the case. Now, just in case you don't know where to go, I suggest you get a Lanli, L-I-A-N, I believe, L-I. That's the brand of the case I use. They're all aluminum, very cooling efficient, very strong, sturdy, and rugged, and they could take a fall. Although I don't suggest you drop these cases. Okay. Now I'd like you to check out the next thing. After you buy the case, you're going to want to buy something called the motherboard. The motherboard is this thing right here. Hold on. It's where all these pieces are connected to at the bottom. You see that? Oh, these wires, and they're connected to this board. Let me try to give you a better shot here. See the RAM and everything? Well, that's the motherboard. That's like the heart of the computer. This, actually, no, it's not the heart. It's the body of the computer. It's the, it's like the case. How do I put it to you? The case, alright, let's put it to you this way. The case is the body, right? The motherboard is the, think of a very important part of your body. It's the kidneys. I don't know. It's your immune system. The processor is the heart. The memory, or the RAM, is your, what's the best reference? I'd say the memory is like your mind. It's your memory. And video card is your eyes. Okay. So the next thing, after you build the, after you buy the case, you buy the motherboard. And I suggest you get either an Asus or the brand Asus or 8-bit. I think they're some of the best, most hardiest, fastest overclockable brands out there. Overclock means you could run your computer at a faster speed than what it's advertised at by tweaking a few settings inside the BIOS. And the BIOS is the onboard. It's an onboard chip that you can access that basically will give you, it's the control panel of your hardware, of your motherboard. Okay, so once you have the case, you buy the motherboard, then you want to buy some memory. Since 2 gigs, in my opinion, is the standard for today's memory memory minimum, I would suggest you go with 2 gigs, and Corsair or Crucial still make some of the best. So those are the 2 brands I highly endorse and recommend. You buy those, you buy this all together. Buy this all. Newegg has everything you need, so you get this all from newegg.com. Then you buy a processor. I'm an AMD man. I think Intel still has. I think AMD's slowing down a little bit in terms of its company growth because I've read the fundamentals on it. But Intel is still a little pricey. AMD's cheaper and faster and quality. Don't think cheap. You get what you pay for. You do get more than what you pay for with AMD. So you want to buy the processor. I suggest the 3.2 dual core, although the quad cores I hear are pretty sexy. So you can get those. Then you want to buy a heatsink / fan. You want to get a good heatsink / fan. I don't really know many brands. I think this is a Zalman. Get a Zalman. I don't really care. We'll get it whatever the hell you want on that. Except make sure though, you know what, if you buy the retail processor, it comes with a heatsink and fan, and you might just be good with that. Okay. Then you might want to buy some external fans because you want to cool your system. your motherboard runs pretty warm. All of our motherboards do. That's why the case needs to have sufficient cooling. Efficient, sufficient, whatever. Doesn't both words work. I keep my case open all the time. You know that could collect dust. I always keep it properly cleaned. I do put a very, very large external AC unit blowing directly onto this, and it's not as cold as you think, so it's not causing any condensation. So that's why I would worry, because it would short the system because of the water from the condensation. But it's not. It's farther away, and it's pretty much air cooled, and it keeps my my system running very cold, very stable. The colder your system, the more stable it runs. The hotter, the more chance you have of burning out a processor or freezing up your computer. Remember that. Okay, so now as you're looking here, that's the heat sink and fan. That's a Zalman. This is my memory. I believe these are Corsairs. Or no, these are Value Rams, but they run very well. They're heat synced up, so they're nice and cool. Okay, next thing is the video card. Go with GeForce. Screw ATI. GeForce 88 or the 9800, or just wait for the 10s to come out. Those should be out shortly. This motherboard supports Tri-SLI, meaning you could put 3 max capacity video cards in this system and run them under one umbrella, under Vista. And these could be 3 powerhouses, 3 juggernauts running in unison. It's amazing. You get pure speed. It is like a Ferrari speed when it comes to games or whatever. And by the way, this is a gaming machine. It's a gaming rig. It could run Crysis very smoothly. Although I definitely have the addiction where I'd want to throw in 3 9800s if I had the money right now to just spend on that stuff. I would, because then I could run Crysis at max capacity and watch that game glimmer. Okay. Guys, the next thing I want you to look at here is what's above it is a PhysX card. It comes with the new GeForces. You don't need to buy them. I just bought it for UT because I thought it'd make a difference, and it really kind of was a waste of money, I hate to say. Alright, so you want to get the graphics card, a good top-end video card, if you can afford this, guys. Remember, this is all, if you can't afford it, go with the lower, brand. Go with whatever your price permits. Okay. I have this running, my PC running in RAID. These are dual gigs, Western Digital Raptors, 10,000 RPMs. In layman's terms, these things run like Ferraris. 2 dual pair Ferraris working in unison, like I mentioned with the graphics cards, to produce maximum capacity, maximum speed. And this is a serial ATA connection. Beautiful. So, when you're ordering your motherboard, Asus or Avid, make sure it's the latest, greatest. Make sure it supports serial ATA, serial RAID. Make sure it's at least dual SLI, for Christ's sakes. Get an SLI board, guys. You won't regret it in the long term. Okay, you also need to buy a power supply. This is your brain. You need this thing to operate your body, and this power supply is, I believe, a 500 plus watt. I'm not 100% sure, but for a system like this, you need anything over, I would say, comfortable 600 watt, and this very well may be a 600 watter. So you want to definitely get that. You need a power supply. That's your power for the whole computer to even run. So once you get all this, it's pretty self-explanatory. You always have to make sure you put your risers in on the metal so you don't short the board. Always ground yourself to make sure you're grounded before installing, the parts. And A to B to C to D. It's a very ABCD process. You put the motherboard in, you put the power supply in, you put it in order, and you shouldn't have a problem with it working. Once you get all your parts installed, which you could get in the manual, I'm not going to take this thing apart to show you. It's not worth my time and worth the effort. Once you get everything put together and you could boot your machine, the machine boots. Again, to set this computer up, your case will have instructions of where to put the power switch connector on the board. You'll figure that out once in due time. It's very easy. Once that's all done, guys, then you start your computer up. You create a new partition, meaning you create a place for a clean installation of Windows Vista. I highly recommend Vista or XP, but Vista is #1 for me. I like it. It's running very stable with this machine. And format the partition, do a fresh install of Windows Vista, and you're running a brand new homemade PC. I just gave you the tools, guys, to make your own PC. How freaking cool is that? It's going to save you a lot of money next time you want to really put together a stable PC and you call it your own.